views expressed on this program are those of the producers and individuals appearing on this program and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Sun Prairie Media Center staff, its video service providers, or the staff and elected officials of the City of Sun Prairie.
You are now watching the Alan and DJ Show.
Yo, Milwaukee, Sun Prairie, and all the surrounding areas. Welcome to the Alan and DJ TV show. And of course, I'm Alan.
And this is your boy, DJ.
And today we have a very, very, very special guest of ours today to talk about the effects of ADHD. And her name would be?
Gail Buckberger.
Gail, how you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. I'll be glad to have you today, even though we got away from them deers.
Yep.
Thank God for picking me up off the ground.
Right.
Please. I didn't mean to embarrass you guys.
Yeah.
But today, I'm going to talk about something real serious today, and that's ADHD. And Gail, if you want to give us a background as far as like the school you went to and the field you study in school?
Sure. So I am a family nurse practitioner. I have been for a little over 30 years now. I did my undergraduate degree at Marquette University, so that's my Marquette background.
We are Marquette.
And then I did my family practice at UW Milwaukee. So a Wisconsin girl. I've been practicing in all different areas the last 30 years. I've done internal medicine. I've done women's health, mental health, occupational health. So done a lot in my life.
That's good to hear. And how long have you been in your far as like working in your field?
Sure. Family practice I've been in, like I said, over 30 years, but I decided a few years ago that I really wanted to start an ADHD clinic because there's such a need, because nobody really treats ADHD specifically. So gotcha. This came up about 2 years ago, and then it kind of went on, trying to get everything arranged, and then I just decided, you know what, let's go. Let's get it open. I found a business partner, and 8 months later we had the clinic open. So we haven't been open just a couple months now. So it's very new, but it's going awesome.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I got a question for you.
Sure.
Why did you choose Marquette?
Believe it or not, I am third generation Marquette.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
My grandmother went to nursing school there. My grandfather went to dental school there. My dad went to school there. And then when it came time for us to go to college, they're kind of like, you're going to Marquette. Okay.
And why did you choose your field of study?
My grandmother was a nurse, and I was always very inspired by her. She was just a kind, giving person, and I always feel my best and feel like I'm doing my best when I'm helping someone else. So nursing was just such a good fit for me.
Oh, okay.
Wow, that's good to hear. And then we're going to dive like a little bit more deeper. So we're going to kind of peel the layers off a little bit. So tell us, what do your facility specialize in treating, and like what is ADHD?
Yeah, well, ADHD, a lot of people are very misunderstanding of what it actually is. It is an actual neurodevelopment disorder of the brain. Some people think, oh, it's just a behavioral thing, it's just this. And no, the brain is actually developing 3 years behind the average person.
Wow.
So, and the frontal lobes that are in the front part of the brain take much longer to come together than they would in a normal person that does not have ADHD. And that causes a lot of problems with executive function, which means they run into all kinds of problems with organization, attention, being impulsive. So it is an actual brain disorder and not just something, and it's not something you outgrow.
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah, well, and that sounds like that's serious, DJ. Like,
Yeah, it is.
After I shoot the alley hoop to DJ, I'm going to ask you this. Can you give us different types of ADHD as far as like a definition?
Sure. There are 3 main types of ADHD, according to the DSM. Now, there are some researchers out there that say there's 7 or 8, but what the insurances and most physicians recognize are 3 different ones. One is the ADHD inattentive, which a lot of people call ADD versus ADHD because it doesn't have a hyperactive component. The other one is ADHD hyperactive or impulsive. or it's ADHD combined type, which is impulsive, hyperactive, and inattentive. So, or it can just be impulsive and inattentive, but it's a combination of the two.
Gotcha.
Can you kind of give us like a definition of each one, just in case for the viewers that don't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
those?
So it's mainly ADD, what that means is that the person can't hold their attention for very long. They're not hyperactive at all.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? They're doing fine. They're not really impulsive. And by impulsive, it means, like sometimes kids are bored during a test or whatever, so then they might smack the kid next to them just because they're bored.
Oh.
And their brain has wandered. And they don't mean it in any harm. It's just their brain. The hyperactive impulsive, these are the kids that are easier to spot. These are the kids that from little on will, be running around the room, not listening to anybody, seeming to be in their own little world, like very hyperactive.
Okay.
So that's a little easier to spot. And the combined type can be impulsive and inattentive and hyperactive all in one. So then you have somebody who's, might be kind of seeming like they're in la la land.
Yeah.
And they are not paying attention because their brain's already on 20 other things.
Okay.
It is really, the joke that my brain has 23 tabs open and there's music playing in one of them and I can't find it.
Yeah.
That's ADHD.
Okay.
Well, folks, you heard it. She basically broke it down for you, like the definition and different types of ADHD. But I got a question. So let's say if I maybe had a friend that might have ADHD, where can they find you? Like, what does your clinic specialize in, as well as far as like maybe ADHD? Like, do you guys work on?
Sure. Well, a lot of kids with ADHD and adults, it's not just a problem of children, have more than one comorbidity. So you may have, like, especially in women, a lot of them are inattentive, but they also have severe anxiety. So they're often misdiagnosed as just having anxiety and not ADHD because they're so nervous all the time. But so that's how that perceives itself. So girls are very different than boys. And there are other people that are severely depressed that have, symptoms of ADHD, but they really need to be treated for depression versus ADHD. So our clinic we ask a bunch of questions and a bunch of different scales as far as anxiety, depression, suicide, addictive disorders, things like that, and ADHD, because all of those can be together. And you really have to take the time to differentiate which one is it and what is it that they really need. Because if you have somebody who's really just super anxious or somebody who's really depressed, but if you look at the symptoms, they'll say they have every one of ADHD, but they really don't. And then you do the depression scale and they're hitting all of them. So it's really important that you treat with the right medication, because if you give them the wrong medication, it's not going to help. And like kids sometimes, they're like, well, my kid was put on ADHD medicine and now they're a zombie. Well, then that's the wrong med for one.
Okay.
And it might be the wrong diagnosis.
Yeah.
So you need to dig a little further and make sure that, you're covering everything and not just, oh, well, they won't sit still for school or they won't do their homework. Well, okay, but let's dig a little deeper.
Right, deeper. Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, how intense is that when it comes down to like trying to diagnose that person? Like, as far as like, do y'all do like extensive questionnaires? Or?
Yep, we do that. And in our office, we have what we call objective testing, and it's a machine called QB test. And it's basically kind of like a computer game.
Okay.
Okay, nice.
And what it does is, and it's made for kids and adults, so it starts at age 6 all the way up to age 60. So, and yes, there are people well in their 60s still on ADHD meds. And it looks at the 3 main parts: the inattentive, the impulsive, and what they call activity. There's a little headband that goes on. We got a little sensor that goes in the middle, and there's a camera that's mounted to the wall.
Okay.
And then they do these series of little, for kids, it's called a go, no-go test. There's a circle, or there's a circle with an X. If there's a circle, they click the button.
Okay.
If there's an X, they don't. And with the adults, it's more matching. So it's a little more difficult, but still kind of along the same line. And it can actually look at what is their head movement. I mean, we had one kid that was so cute. He's like halfway through the test, and we have a baby monitor watching them just in case, especially when they're little,
Okay.
you know, make sure they're actually sitting down and doing it.
Yeah.
But this guy kept taking the the little thing on there that kind of like did, you know, recorded the head movement, and he's just like moving it around, and it was pretty funny. So we kind of had to go back in there and restart the test. And
okay,
look at like, okay, let's try this again. You can't take the little sensor off, okay? So, and yes, he did test positive for ADHD.
Okay.
Well, there you go, folks. He still tested positive.
Right, right. But it's just nice because it does give us an objective look at which one is the main one for them.
Okay,
And do they have a combined? It doesn't really diagnose them, but it helps me know, is it just one? Is it the other? Is it combined? And what is their most prominent? And then we also have an ADHD coach that works with us, that if it's more of a like behavioral type thing, that they're really struggling, you know, like the meds help with the attention, but we like to say pills don't teach skills.
Yeah.
You know,
There you go.
it's correct.
I
It's
like
only
that.
part of it. It's only part of it. And so many
Right.
people think, oh, you're going to give my kid a pill and it's going to be great. And no, that's not how it works. So our ADHD coach, Debbie, can work with the parents and the kids to teach them the executive function skills that they don't have.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, that's our big saying there.
Wow.
But it's really important that you give people the information that they need. You know, I'm super passionate about this because my son was diagnosed with it at a pretty young age, and I fought it for a long time because as a practitioner, I did kind of feel like sometimes kids were put on meds unnecessarily, so I wanted to try every avenue, everything we could do to keep him off meds. Well, we did, and it didn't work, so he went on meds. Things were a little better, but there were still so many things that nobody explained to me as a parent or gave me information about, kind of like, here's your med, good luck.
Right.
And there wasn't even any, like I'd ask him, any good resources? Oh, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
You know, and there's just such a need because there's so many things. I mean, if I knew everything now that I knew then,
Right.
and let me just apologize to my son now. Sorry, bud.
Sorry. Please
Sorry.
forgive us.
We'll talk about that airplane later. But he, you know, I probably would have yelled at him a lot less.
Okay.
You know, and I want other parents to understand, hey, you know, they are not ignoring you. They literally, unless you are like saying, hey, can you go pick this up now? I could be standing here looking eye to eye. He will not hear me
Yep.
because they just don't. If something else is on their mind, they can't. They literally can't hear you.
That's crazy.
And it's crazy.
That's
Do you know what I
crazy.
mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I never knew that.
I'll be like, Nick, did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I said?
Right.
What? Did you talk to me? Yes. We just had a whole conversation, at least I did. So, and parents need to understand this. Do you know what I mean? Because it's so frustrating, and especially when they're little, trying to get homework done, trying to get to activities, you know, things like that. So it's needed, you know, and the whole thing that's missing is there's no one to coordinate all of this for
I agree.
people.
I agree.
So.
No, well, that's spot on because you know, like, I guess like my question for like ADHD is like, why do people have like I would say difficulties like balancing like their emotions? And I know you kind of touched on that a little bit, but I really want to go deeper into that.
Sure. No, people with ADHD definitely have what we call big emotions.
Yeah.
And they will often, you know, be seen as bad kids because they have like a very short fuse.
Gotcha.
So, and a lot of it is again, it goes back to the brain development. And, you know, when we're growing and we're learning things like learning to walk, we develop these little synapses in our brain and it tells us what to do. And when you have ADHD and these are not coming together as fast, those never build.
Oh, wow.
So because those don't build, they have a lot of trouble regulating emotions. Like it goes from 0 to 60 very quickly. And that's hard. And it's something that they have to be taught.
Okay.
And because it's just not a natural thing for them. A lot of, kids that have the severe emotional ones may also have oppositional defiant disorder. And that's very serious and something beyond what we can treat, but something that really needs to be looked at as well.
Okay.
I agree
Yeah.
100%.
So it's actually part of their brain.
Okay. Well, I got another question. As far as like, I know like your motto is to help everybody, but is there a patient that you really tried to help, but for some reason you couldn't help them?
We haven't been open super long.
Okay.
So I don't know that we've had that yet. We've had some ones that are like, well, I don't know if it's helping or not.
Yeah.
And I have had patients that came in and I'm like, I know you think this is ADHD, but it's really, you really have some severe depression, anxiety issues. And, he had been attempted to be treated for that before. And he's like, well, I just thought they were making that up, that I didn't need the meds. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
We did the testing, we did the scan, we did all this. You did not test positive for ADHD.
Okay.
So then getting them to understand what else they might have and what other options there are and things like that. And in that case, this person had already had another provider who was managing some of that.
Okay.
So then I send them back to that person versus trying to take over, because that's not my point. I'm not there to be their primary care. I'm there to help manage their ADHD.
Okay.
Oh, man, that's good to hear. And then I would like to ask this. So why is it important to treat ADHD, but what happens if it goes untreated?
So there's some really scary facts about ADHD that people should really be aware of. One, ADHD is the most treatable mental health disorder, easily treated. Not only with medications, but with, some therapy and some coaching, it's super treated. And you can be extremely successful. But some scary facts for you are, if a patient's not treated for ADHD, they are 13% more likely to actually commit suicide. Not just attempt, but commit.
Wow.
They are 90% more likely to try illicit drugs if they are not treated, because they're trying to get that dopamine fix. And if they get a drug, it gives them that dopamine fix. And so they just keep going back. So it causes a lot of substance use disorders. So it's, and again, it's something that's easily treated. The other thing is, for some people that aren't treated and maybe don't know they have it, they have a really hard time keeping a job.
Really?
Yeah, because they're time blind, so they're never on time. They get fired because they're not on time.
Yep.
Or they can't keep up at the pace of work they're expected to keep up with. So they have a higher rate of unemployment.
Okay.
So, and they typically, over a lifetime of untreated, could earn up to 25% less than someone without. That's a big thing. It's a big thing. Yeah, and it can cause a lot of relationship problems too. If you are married to somebody who has ADHD and maybe they don't know it,
right?
Or you're dating somebody and their emotions are going 0 to 60, or their thoughts are going all over, and you don't understand what's going on.
Right.
You're like,
that's crazy. Because funny you mentioned that, because I've been in situations like that where like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And
where'd that come from?
Or where'd that come from? And I never knew that could probably be a symptom or maybe a part of ADHD. Wow, like that's, you learn something new every day, folks.
Absolutely. Well, and that's why I'm, again, passionate about it, because there's no reason for that suicide rate to be so high.
No, not at all.
No reason.
No, and they really, and you know what, like, I'm glad to have you on today, because I'm glad that you're so passionate about it, and you're really looking into stuff like this, and we're really trying to like minimize like the lower risks of ADHD. So like if you may have it, like you need to probably get checked out, or like at least go through the proper steps or the proper channels to see if you do have it or not. But DJ, you have another question you want to ask?
Oh yeah, this is a percentage question. Like, what is the percentage of school-age children that will have some type of ADHD, and is the percentages different in adults?
Typically, they will say most school-age children, it's anywhere from 7 to 10%.
Okay.
Adults right now, according to statistics, but I think it's a little on the low side, it's about 5%.
Okay.
And that's because a lot of adults have never been tested.
Oh, okay.
So, or they just, never seek out attention. So
Do you think that percentage would be higher if a lot more people went out and tested?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. That's what I try to tell people, I'm like, hey, like, there's nothing wrong with admitting, like, hey, look, like, I'm tripping, I'm all over the place, maybe I might have a problem, or maybe it might be me. And like Gal said, like, if you're experiencing some of these symptoms, like, oh.
Get it checked. Call us.
Yeah, call.
Yeah.
Call.
Call us.
Call like
If
Blue.
nothing else, yeah. Like we can at least talk to you on the phone.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And tell you, are we the right avenue for you or are we not? Because we have had some calls and once we get the whole story, we're like, yeah, no, you need this, not us.
Yeah.
Because it's important that, especially when it comes to mental health, that it's properly treated.
And, I like that you guys are honest because, like, some companies or some businesses are just, come on in,
Sure,
and
I'll take your money.
right, suck your
Yeah,
insurance
sure.
dollars and everything. And
Yeah.
that's what I like about you. And that's what made us gravitate towards you because, you're really trying to help the people. And you're like, hey, look, you know what? We don't do this. You might need to go see this particular doctor. And like, that would make me want to trust you because I'm like, wow, she really care.
Right.
You know
right.
what I
And I
mean?
don't want to claim to be all end all expert. Do you know what I mean? I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly researching,
For sure.
looking for new ideas. What else can we do to help? What can we do to help the schools?
Yeah.
What can we do to help the teachers understand
definitely.
how to deal with these kids? Because let's face it, teachers have a rough job.
Yeah.
And it's hard if you've got one kid that's really bouncing off the walls.
Yeah.
And then they're very
to keep
underpaid
control.
too.
You're trying to teach 29 kids
right.
and you got one kid going crazy.
Right.
And I think we all had that in our classroom.
Yeah.
We got one kid that
Yeah.
ate all the
Ate all the
glue,
right.
and then
Or the crayons.
or the
Yeah.
Or
crayons.
sniffing the markers.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know I should do that a lot though. Don't tell nobody. But and to me, I feel like teachers are very underpaid as well because they have a lot of students to deal with, and maybe like you said, out of that 29, you may have about 2 or 3 that might really have ADHD.
Right. And we will actually we have people in our office that will go to the schools and give
Nice.
a seminar to the teachers and things like that
That's
to
beautiful.
like give them quick little ideas that are realistic that you can do in the classroom. Do you know what I
that's
mean?
beautiful.
Like in a perfect world, you'd have a little area here and you'd have a one-to-one and it's not reality.
that's so
It's not
cliche.
reality.
Yep.
So, what are the proper steps to treating ADHD?
Well, first you have to make sure they have it. Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of times people are originally put on the medicine, and it's because the teacher wrote a note to the mom took it to the doctor said, oh yeah, sounds like that, and they're put on meds.
Gotcha.
And then then a lot of times, why is my kid a zombie now? Well, because they're not on the right med.
Yeah.
That's not really what they should be on. If there's a personality change like that, that's not the right med. Like you got and some parents are like, no, this is great, they're perfect, and I'm like, no, they're a zombie. That's not what we really want.
Yeah.
Because that won't help their learning either. It won't help
Yeah.
their growth. So we really have to be careful with the medicines. And with some kids, you have to go, the recommended dose might be you do this, then you do this, and then you do this. But if somebody comes in and tells me they were so sensitive on every other med they've ever tried, slow. You go slow, you start at the lowest dose, and then it may say increased dose after 2 weeks. Let's give it 30 days. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And
I like
just-
that
Okay.
idea.
Yeah, because if you already tell me that you've tried other things and you've had these horrible side effects, I don't want to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I want to take my time. And I feel bad for the primary care docs too, because they just don't have the time to do that. They don't.
Yeah.
I've worked primary care. We need to get them in, we need to get them out. But
And
they
trying
just
to,
don't have time.
and trying to deal with so many other
Right.
different patients, yeah.
Right. So they're in a tough spot. So again, good reason for me to open the clinic.
There you go.
There you go.
Right.
All right. like with some of the disorders, like you touched. Okay. Well, actually, like we're gonna wrap the show up, and we're gonna wrap it up with this. Basically, like, where can we find you, Gil?
Sure.
And we're gonna have your final thought after that.
Sure. You can find me in Heartland, Wisconsin at Lake Blue Wellness. Our phone number is 262-361-4005. You can call to make an appointment. We do not have a wait list at this time. So if you have a child who's really struggling, or even as an adult, we've had a lot of college students that just struggled that first year because mom and dad aren't there to help. Call us and talk to us, and we'll let you know if we're the place to see you or not. So
Yep.
that would be great.
And you have any final thoughts for it?
Yeah. I mean, part of my passion is to kind of change the stigma of ADHD. You know, they're just not bad kids. They're not lazy kids. A lot of these kids are actually incredibly intelligent, but they just don't know how to show it. You know, they're the kids that in math class, the teacher's mad because they didn't show their work, and they're like, I do it in my head, you know, because they're smart and they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they just, it's hard for them to show their work. Do you know what I mean? So they're not trying to be difficult. They're not trying to be bad. They just need to learn a little differently.
Got it.
So, you know, I think it's just, I want to help give parents education if parents are frustrated. We're going to try doing more seminars for parents, like on school and homework and how to get a routine and some of the other things that to, you know, really help them just so that the day-to-day life is a little easier.
Got it.
Beautiful. And until next time, the Alan and DJ Show. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Alan Hutchinson. You can find us on William J. Smith, Facebook and Instagram, and the Alan and DJ fan page, and the Alan and DJ YouTube. And here we go once again, gal. And we're glad to have her, Lake Blue Wellness. Y'all please check it out. Stay well, stay healthy.
Peace.
We are Marquette.
Mark.